Hallo liebe Leute und herzlich willkommen zu den 2019 Throw Down the Mountain.
It's Simon.
What?
This is big German commentary, not German commentary. Sorry for that, ladies and gentlemen. We do have big German commentary. I'm joined in the booth today by the German superstar Simon Lizotte, and we are here at the 2019 Throw Down the Mountain 7 presented by Discraft and Sun King Discs.
Well, thanks, Jerem, for having me. It's a pleasure to be back. We are just off the 100K party from last week in Waco, which was a complete pleasure to be at and just awesome. And we are in Florida here, just north of Tampa, watching first round featured card at this amazing property, really.
And McBeth has dominated this event the few years that he's been coming out here, and we have a beautiful course, a temp course down here in Brooksville, Florida. It is a challenging, very difficult track, and the most elevation you're ever going to see in Florida. Let's get right into it. Hole 1 is 360 feet, uphill the whole way. I feel like it plays over 430 feet or so. It's a very challenging hole, though, with a low ceiling and the upgrade all the way up to the pin.
Yeah, this hole is exactly 25 feet further than I can throw sidearm.
Okay.
I don't know what that means, though.
Looks like MJ is going with his crank. I believe it's just a normal crank, not a crank SS. But he fought through that tree all the way up there, pin high.
Yeah, one thing I really like about this course, besides it obviously being absolutely gorgeous, is that scrambling out here is going to be one of them, if not the main factor for to be successful, really. Like, off the tee is the key. That rhymed.
And Charlie with a nice shot from his Castoplast Falk. And McBeth is going with the sidearm Kong. And that is just, he's really showing off the well-rounded nature of his game. Being able to throw a forehand that far really takes a big pump. And he had a high shot. He even hit a little bit of that low-ceiling Spanish moss.
And it still looked like he threw it on like 50%.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a Star Wraith, just a low turn just to avoid that low ceiling.
Looks perfect.
Yeah, good skip, and I was a little concerned with it being too turned at first, but it had nice stability towards the end.
You're like 15 feet.
Mm-hmm. Charlie Goodpasture putting with a Rico. And that's a huge first putt right there to start off.
Wow. Talking about building confidence for this course, which you really need out here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I played 2 practice rounds with Paul, so I'm excited to watch him compete.
Yeah, the only practice round I played was with Paul too, and seeing the way that he plays this course, it's dangerous. He can attack.
Is he feeling dangerous?
Yeah, he might have woken up this morning feeling dangerous. And as you can see here, I just got back from the tennis club. Had a nice little 2-round hit around with my trainer.
Are those the new Adidas shoes?
I don't want to say they're new, but
I thought
I got them last year. You can tell they're not that new because they're pretty dirty.
So are we looking at a potential star frame on this hole?
Yeah, we are. This hole was birdied. We have a 75-person field. There were 10 total birdies, and 4 of them were on this card. This is a really challenging hole. It's averaging 3.11, so I was really impressed. I mean, I was the back of the box. I'm still the back of the box with a birdie on one of the hardest holes. Hole 2 is a par 4, 485 feet, and it's already tricky off the tee box. So once you get up on the green, it almost gets trickier. There's out of bounds right there. You can't really see that post on the right, but that is an out of bounds barbed wire, which all players will get 2 meters relief from anywhere on the course. Nice thing done for safety purposes. And MJ has turned over his crank, and that's a little bit too far right. You want to be on the left side of this fairway if you can, just to set yourself up for the better angle on the approach.
Yeah, this is one of the trickier par 4s on the course. It's very demanding tee shot where you have to thread the needle kind of through that initial gap, and then the second shot really
perfect.
Yeah, it really lines up. It really matters if you're left or right in the fairway because there's 2 gaps to the basket. You can either throw a kind of low line tight hyzer gap or a wide Anheuser or sidearm.
Mm-hmm. And McBeth has gotten through. That is a tsunami, which kind of surprised me, but he likes it for a little bit straighter shots than the Predator. And Charlie threw a Grim. Those are just two perfect shots. There's that one area right where they both landed that is a casual.
Oops.
Oops is right. That's way too high, and that is not going to get down the hill, which means I'm in a really, really tough spot. And this is kind of the theme of this course. If you get off the fairway at all, you were looking at some sort of trick shot, and I was just rewarded with about 70 to 80 feet of good luck, because when I looked down, that shot had hit the ground, and then I looked up and everyone's like, yeah, it rolled 100 feet.
Oh, I never thought about that.
That would be nice if it was about 100 feet further. I tried to use the tailwind to push the disc, but it didn't really go that far, and I'm looking at a bogey now. MJ with a little patent pending Comet. Good looking line is just way too much right there. You have to, it's so specific that you go down that hyzer line or that anhyzer line that you were talking about.
Yeah, this course is so different than most courses we play, which is kind of cool, but at the same time a bit annoying. Because most courses we play, the drive isn't that important. Like, as long as you kind of get it down there, you'll somehow get up and down. But this course, you are fighting for every inch if you get off the fairway.
Yeah, I mean, this really surprises me here that Charlie's going for the anhyzer with the berry. I'm gonna try to say it right. I know the Americans are gonna call it the Berg, but the Swedes call it like Betty. I'm not good at that pronunciation. But
is that from Switzerland?
I thought that Kastaplast was Swedish, but you might be right.
Well, okay. Well, Swiss would be Switzerland.
Yes, I understand. Did I say Switzerland? I meant to say Sweden. I think Kastaplast is Sweden.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I'm almost positive it is. Anyhow, MJ with the approach to get his par. That's my bogey. But Charlie, yeah, that really surprised me because it looked like the hyzer angle was way more opened up, but he really trusted that anhyzer gap and threw a shot to 2 feet. So he's off to a good start. He's going to be 2 under through 2, as is McBeth. And MJ's going to get his full 2 meters here.
Yeah, maybe he was just playing percentages there, because the anhyzer gap is a lot wider, and kind of, as long as you give it height and give it enough turnover, it'll be somewhere inside the circle, where the hyzer, if you miss your line, you're screwed.
You're out of bounds, yeah.
Good start for Charlie.
Hole 3 is a par 4, and the first real glimpse of what it means to be at the Throw Down the Mountain course here in Brooksville. Players are going to throw over the cliff down to this rocky path. From there we go dogleg left up the hill with the out of bounds on the right, and the basket is just up on that little top of that knoll there, so any sort of short shots kind of bringing a little bit of scare factor with the putting green.
Yeah, this is a very short par 4, which is almost tempting to go for it off the tee.
I thought you might think that.
Yeah, there is a high over the tree line, which at least a handful could reach. I think this basket is a little risky because of the OB on the right and the tight wooded on the left, and the wind's kind of swirling over this canyon-like terrain. But the play, Paul showed it perfect right there, is the mid-range overstable layup shot.
If anything, you want to be on the right side of that road just to kind of open up your angle a little bit. Charlie's going to be a little bit too tight, I believe, and that could be a problem. MJ throwing his Comet, which kind of surprised me. I thought he might throw his Banger GT, but he's right in the middle with that little roll back off the backside. And I'm throwing my Recon Mortar, and that needs to get left. And it's on the right side of the path, but unfortunately it's behind that tree, which I was pretty frustrated about when I got up there and saw my lie. Really small gap that I actually had to go through there, but just held just enough angle and skipped up to the green.
Wow, that's a great shot. Yeah, this upshot is really, it's all about the footwork here. You don't really see it in the camera as always, but it's like very uphill and rocky, and it's hard to find footing. where at this point you're only throwing with your upper body, and it's so hard because we're not used to that. It's so hard to adjust the distance and even the angles to get power and the right angle on these uphill kind of slippery shots.
And Charlie having to go with the backhand there, I was really surprised he didn't throw the forehand. That's a tough shot if you don't really trust that long Anheuser forehand, but his angle was cut off so much by being short off the tee. Paul is right in the spot you want to be, and this approach is leaving kind of a lot
short, but I for example did the same thing. It's not really surprising because you lose your entire lower body, which adds at least a couple feet, and I think that's what just happened to Paul there, is just didn't adjust correctly.
And Paul is going to have about 38 feet, maybe 40 feet. I think he's going to be just fine, folks.
SloMez number 1.
Right in the sweet spot, right to the right. Great putt there.
Yeah, he's been very happy with his new Lunas, and ever since he's been putting with a slight more hyzer than I've been used to him over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I guess if you shoot 18 unders and make all those cuts, you're not doing too
really
bad.
Question it too much. Charlie, unfortunately, off on the right side. He's going to have to settle for a bogey. With the lowest putt to ever go in without hitting the cage.
Yeah, from that tee shot, with that out of position, that's a great pickup.
Yeah, I was pretty happy about that, especially after the bogey on 2, get things back under par. And MJ with his birdie.
Surprising 5 for Charlie.
Yeah, you just got to be a little bit longer off the tee. If you come up short, it just almost takes birdie out of the equation. Hole 4. Wow, what an incredibly challenging, maybe the hardest par 3 on the course. I would say it has to be. It's 420 feet, super low ceiling. And then when you get all the way up here, then it goes right back up the hill another 45 feet. I don't know how you can really draw this up other than just blitzing a low ceiling driver and having the speed take the disc up the hill.
Yeah, this hole isn't that long, but because of the low ceiling and the finish at the basket where you have to kind of skip up the hill.
Yeah, speak for yourself, but yeah.
I think everyone's going to throw high-speed drivers. For this distance, normally you'd probably throw a fairway. But yeah, where you're looking really to blast one almost full power and have it skip and slide.
MJ with the fortunate bounce with the Anheuser shot into the ground. That could have been a much longer approach, which is going to be difficult. If you come up short, the approach on this green is incredibly challenging. I'm going with the Star Wraith. Trying to throw a straight shot. Got a little bit of turn there, but managed to fight through. I've got a long look, maybe like 65 feet.
Yeah, this hole is very much a bonus birdie hole.
Oh, yeah. It may be the most bonus birdie on the whole course. Charlie with the early tree, and this is what we're talking about, the difficult approach. And this shot is just perfect. I mean, the hyzer line to skip up the hill. It still has not a challenging putt, but, you know, you can't really get much closer than that. That was a great shot from Charlie.
No, that's exactly how you scramble. And MJ leaving himself probably 25-foot uphill putt there for par.
And Paul with his first par of the round.
Yeah, he's happy to not hit metal there. This hole is one of those holes where you either want to make it or airball it.
Yeah, anytime a basket's on the hill like this, for sure. And MJ having to scramble for his birdie after that bad kick. He's in. Simon, this hole's averaging 3.71. That is a staggering number for a par 3. I mean, McBeth talked about, Charlie with a great save. McBeth had mentioned maybe bringing this basket up the hill another 80 feet or so and making it into a par 4. I mean, we're almost at a par 4 scoring average, and this is just a par 3, so. And a quick shout out to Johnny McRae and Chris Clemens, the only 2 deuces on the day in that hole. That's
Yeah, Calvin had a spit out. 20-foot dead center spit out.
oh no.
Yeah, so on my card, I almost
man.
had 2 birdies on it, and we all 3'd it, and Johnny made a great putt. So anyway.
Hole 5 is a par 3, 320 feet. One of the more simple par 3s on the course. It's just a straight shot. It almost feels like you have a backstop and you really don't have to worry so much about distance control. We are pretty close to that barbed wire fence though. The tee pad is actually within 1.5 meters of it, and we get 2 meters relief from the barbed wire. So you do the math there. Paul just takes an ESP buzz and puts it 5 feet away.
Yeah, this hole is kind of a tweener between mid-range and fairway driver.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of want to throw fairway driver because leaving it short is kind of the only mistake you can make.
Mm-hmm.
Or not.
MJ just didn't get that Comet turned over. Just a little bit too much high Z release and too much high release and just kind of in the middle. I'm trying to smooth a Champion Eagle.
Looks like you did it.
I smoothed it, but I didn't really throw it. I ended up coming up like 55, 60 feet short, so I thought I actually liked my shot, and then I saw it hit that hill and roll down, and I was like, oh gosh, I forgot to throw it.
I would love to learn more about the discs Charlie's for throwing and why.
Well, he's sponsored by
Great shot.
Castaplast, and that is his Falk. And he's throwing that thing really well. He threw that in hole 1 to about 35 feet short, and then right there he just puts that a couple feet past the basket. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and apologize to Castaplast. I'm going to do my very best to do the Swedish pronunciations.
Yeah, you're doing great. As far as I can tell.
Nice.
Wow.
Ooh. I knew that one was in. I felt good.
That was at least a 45.
They had it 45. It was more than 45, but these things aren't scientific. We're just kind of guesstimating when we say these distances.
I really enjoyed that SloMez though, the flying germ.
The flying germ. MJ with a nice putt for his par, and we're going to have 2 little tap-ins. McBeth, 4 down through 5, making it look easier than it is.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what I notice in practice. This course can play extremely fun and easy, and it can play extremely frustrating and difficult.
Yeah, that's the side that I'm more experienced with, is the frustrating, difficult part. Throw it in the mountain part 2. Here we go, hole 6, a huge cliff off the tee. The shot is going to be kind of a sawed-off flip up with a somewhat stable fairway driver. Like, it's kind of a spike hyzer into this tree you can see here, and hopefully you can get through the tree. But the angle is really difficult. Off the tee, it's just blind. So you're just kind of throwing and hoping that it gets through that big bushy tree.
Yeah, we threw a bunch of shots at this pin in practice, just trying to like feel it out. What's the best disc? What's the right height? And they added these hay balls you can see there. Just the day before.
I don't understand why those are there. It's like, allow the shot to skip to the pin. Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, okay, you're choosing the high approach here. I was kind of going for the lower skip.
And that was heading towards it, but caught the tree, and that's the one you gotta miss. And
yeah,
that's about 45 feet shorter, I think.
You know what Charlie's listening to?
Something heavy. We could hear it through his headphones, but you know, it wasn't distracting, so it wasn't anything worth mentioning. But you know, he likes to listen to music and gets him in the mood. And you know, I think that's perfectly fine as long as you can communicate with the group and it's not distracting to anyone. And MJ just throws straight through the fairway. And folks, this is all the way at the top of the hill.
Wow.
In the Sawgrass, basically Sawgrass City. And this took us a while to find the disc. MJ's literally like 35, 40 feet above the basket with that shot. We didn't catch it on camera, but he slid down the hill through the pampas grass all the way down. Not intentionally. It was scary, actually. I was down at the bottom of the hill to catch him. But MJ's wiry. He just slid right through it like it was nothing.
Good bid there. Almost back-to-back. SloMez for you.
It would have been cool. And McBeth has got that little tiny tree in the way, but he's got that new hyzer putt in his arsenal.
Wow.
Just no problem.
You can tell, like, just by his posture, he, like, knew right out of his hand, that's in.
Yeah, he's oozing with confidence right now. He's playing very McBeth-like.
Yeah. I always think it's interesting that he's one of the very few players that never uses a mini.
Yeah, unless he is stymied up against something, you're right. That's only for...
I think that shows good confidence because I don't need the extra inches. Like, why?
Yeah.
Paul with the lone birdie here, kind of running away already.
Yeah, he's off to a great start. I think MJ's just laughing that he survived that whole ordeal. Hole 7 is a fun par 4. Again, it's a pretty similar shot to the last hole. You can bite off a little bit more with a big drive to get far left, but really you're just trying to stay somewhere in the fairway, preferably off to the left side to open up the angle to the second shot, which is an Anheuser approach or a sidearm.
Yeah, this hole, the wind comes mostly into play for this course. It's usually more guarded. It's one of the wide open holes. And it's all about position. Paul is surprising here because we threw some way more attacking drives in practice. So he chose to lay up and then maybe go sidearm or turn over from there. It's a pretty attackable pin position.
And this was a little bit wider out of my hand than I wanted. You can get attacking, but it's just the main thing is just get into the fairway first. These shots are about 30 feet further right than you'd like to be.
Yeah, but you're in the fairway, which is way better than...
Sure. Anything out of the fairway is obviously you're out of birdie position.
This looks like trouble.
Yeah, and that is just on the edge, but way too wide. Charlie's going to have to throw some crazy Anheuser shot from there. The angle is going to be almost completely blocked off. I believe that was his grim. And MJ going with the hyzer shot. And this is a Kong. And this is the first time I've ever seen MJ throw that style disc. I know he throws a force sometimes, but he's known more for his ability to work with the crank. And McBeth going, that is his force, and that's going to get him up near the fairway. And that was just my eyes, right? That wasn't the camera?
No, that was a bit blurry there from my eyes too, but looks like he left himself a 30-footer?
Yeah, maybe just outside the circle. Charlie having to go with a roller shot. And
that was intentional roller, I guess.
And Star Wraith coming in. Hits right about where Paul's hit, but then rolled about 4 world championships deep, about another 20 feet longer.
Comet.
You know it.
And what did he hit?
Yeah, I didn't realize that he hit anything, but yeah, that definitely caught some of that foliage and dropped down short. And Charlie's shot, we luckily had somebody up there that was spotting because this was in the deep sawgrass in the brush pile, and we would have never seen it had we not had someone up there looking. And Charlie able to flick up his berry. I just butchered that.
Berg.
I'm going to call it the bird.
Let's call it Berg.
I'm going to call it the bird. And
that looked like a great run.
Just a little high, 2 putts in a row. And you can just see, if you're just a little bit off, you have got long putts, and MJ cans one. We got a lot of SloMez's on the front 9, guys.
This guy, you gotta love and kind of be annoyed at the same time that he doesn't even watch his disc go in.
I know. It's
the MJ special, no doubt.
It is the MJ special, and this is kind of the McBeth special right now, too. He's,
Paul's just feeling something.
He's oozing confidence.
He's not impressed. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, he made the putt. He definitely did that. Charlie in with a hyzer, and oops, root kick. Try to play it off smooth, but that is impossible to do. When you're 6'6" and you kick something, you're gonna look clumsy. Hole 8 is a par 3, 345 feet. Very similar to hole 5 in many ways, but just a little bit longer. Again, very backhand friendly shot, just with this right to left slope. So lefties are gonna have to go sidearm or some sort of nice turn, But it's just a nice backhand fairway driver. And Paul's actually going with a buzz, and he's just throwing it, I don't want to say as hard as he can, but he's just ripping it.
That looks very good.
Yep. It is.
Yeah, the only real danger here is kicking off a tree and all the way down right where there is eventually OB.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think anyone is seriously thinking about that. All you really want to do is throw a fairway driver, or if you have the power and confidence, you can throw a mid-range at it. Everything kind of funnels down left to right. So you probably want to leave it more left than you would ever want to leave it more right, because everything will trickle down to the basket anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like sometimes you can get a kick that just does not stop on this hole. And this is that Champion Eagle. And I actually kind of liked it out of my hand. I was expecting it to kind of drift more right, but it just held straight and hit that tree you can't quite see from the tee box. So I was a little bit surprised to see my disc just kick straight down, but it was not a good shot, so I can't really be too whiny about that one.
No, missing that gap is pretty weak.
Yep, thank you. And there's a Falk from Charlie. This is kind of like a tricky distance for an approach for me. I like to go forehand approach, but there's definitely no way I'm throwing a forehand into this green. Got a nice little ground play with the AVR X3.
Make it. Oh, I really wanted to see him look away.
He actually has the world's hardest 9-foot putt left, believe it or not. Charlie.
Go.
I love watching a super hyzer putt just go straight the whole way. I just don't really understand the physics of it, but it's really cool to watch. And McBeth is in for his birdie. I'm 7 down through 8 holes, and he's just scorching it right now. This is crazy. Yeah, and you can see he's already distancing himself from the field, and just the front 9. I mean, this normally takes.
Yeah,
like
you can see my entire card is tied for second at this point.
Yeah, and look at that. MJ just putts right through that tree, but that took a lot of trust, because that's a short putt. You don't know if it's going to catch one of those limbs and drop straight down, and then you're kind of looking like an idiot missing this 9-foot putt, but good putt from MJ.
A tree within 5 feet of the basket is...
It's within inches of touching the chains, actually, so I don't like that. But anyways, on to hole 9, par 3, 440 feet. This actually, I don't know, is this harder than hole 3?
I don't think this is...
Or 4?
No, this is definitely not harder. This is a way easier par.
Yeah, it's an easier par.
Not necessarily an easier 2, but Paul looks like he threw this so well.
Well, yeah, it's because he did, and that's an Undertaker, a TI Undertaker that he likes. It's a little bit more understable, I think, or more stable, but he just pins it pretty much 15 feet away.
I actually chose to throw like a super flippy disc on a roller on this hole.
You threw a roller?
Yeah, it kind of works well. I throw it like straight left and it turns over and then just rolls up the hill.
Oh, it's an interesting play. Charlie catching some cabbage, and fortunately out in the open, he'll have a look.
Yeah, distance on this hole is kind of deceiving. That one main tree right in the middle where you're trying to throw around, it's further away than it looks. Like shots that look past it sometimes hit it.
MJ throwing the crank, that high speed stability at the end, gonna take him a little bit further away from McBeth's drive, but those are 2 beautiful drives. Full flex.
Is MJ still inside the circle there?
Right on the edge. And I threw my Star Wraith into maybe the hardest place to get up and down I've ever seen from 50 feet, maybe. I don't think it's ever been that tricky from that close.
Are you basically saying that was amazing?
You know what? Yes, that was an amazing shot. I will say it, and I'll get roasted on comments, and that's fine. But
I mean, it looked great on camera.
I told them they had the worst angle possible for that shot because they needed to get up there and see what I was looking at. It was a wall.
Wow.
But forget it. MJ in with the SloMez. Does he watch it all the way? No, of course not.
I've never really talked to him about that. I wonder why he does that.
I actually watched. There's a couple holes. I don't know. Maybe we already missed it where he watched his disc all the way into the chains, which made me think he didn't think it was in. But I think that's when he knows it's in, he just goes ahead and picks up his mini.
Paul just tapping in basically to shoot 8 on the front 9. which is so much better than it looks. It's hard to describe.
And I actually had thought I had miscounted his front nine. I thought that he had shot 9 down. Why are we showing that one? That's the worst shot I threw in the front nine. I thought that he had shot a 9 down in the front. I thought he just swept it. I thought we just watched another perfect McBeth 9, but I forgot about hole 4. Anyhow, an incredible front 9 nonetheless. 8 under, just completely shredding the course. If the course were a microphone, he just dropped it. For sure. So anyways, make sure you come back for the part 2 of the back 9 of the first round of feature card at the 2019 Throw Down the Mountain 7.
Let's go.